This is my Pan That Palette update for June. If you have seen my Pan That Palette videos before, you'll know that I'm doing two palettes. The first one is the NYX Nude on Nude palette, and this is an old version of that. I know they had re-released it later that was bigger than this, and I don't know if they still have it. But this is an old version. I originally got it because it was supposed to be a dupe for the Naked palette. It was actually right when the first Urban Decay Naked palette came out, and this was supposed to be a dupe for it, so I got this instead because I believe it was $11 at the time that I got it. So that's why I got this, and it's that old. I got it when the first Urban Decay Naked came out. The second palette is this one right here. It's from a brand called Cameo, and it's basically similar to those large Coastal Scents or BH Cosmetics palettes. It's a bunch of very tiny eyeshadows in a lot of different colors. So I'm going to start with the NYX Nude on Nude and then move into this one so I can change the camera around for it. Because it's large, it's a lot easier than holding it up like this. So I started the NYX Nude on Nude last July, so it's at the end of July. So it's coming up on a year now that I have been working on that. Unfortunately, I don't even have half of it done. I have previously finished these three shades. It was actually, this is fallout from this, but this one was a really light brown color that I used as a transition shade. This was like kind of a cream color, and this was a very light champagne color. So obviously, basically, the easiest ones in the palette to use are the only three that are gone. I still have not touched this one right here. It's a dark brown with some gold in it, and that's just, I'm not feeling that color. And thus far, I just really haven't used it. Out of this, the one that I use the most is this one, which I use to fill in my brows. I need to actually crush it up because it's getting a little bit hard along the sides. So I think if I just start crushing up bits of it, it'll be much easier to use. The other two that I use out of this most are this one right here. And you can see that it's got a little bit of a dip. It's hard because it's shiny, but the dip does look like it's going down some. And then the other one that I use a lot is this one, and you can kind of tell right there, there is a dip. It's getting a little bit bigger than it was. So hopefully I will hit pan on that soon because I've actually been using that one fairly consistently since July. I'm not wearing it today. I'm not wearing any of these today except for the one that I use on my brows. But I do try to use this fairly frequently. Unfortunately, I find that this color is a little bit too dark. I don't love it as an all-over lid color. It's just a little bit darker than I would like. So I'm running out of colors that I actually like in this palette, but I'm eventually going to try to move into a gold look and go for this one right here. Maybe I can get that one done because that one's fairly light, but it's kind of goldy. So I'm going to turn the camera around and talk about the Cameo palette. Okay, so this is what the palette looks like, and unfortunately, it looks exactly the same as it did last month. I did slack a little on this because I was feeling frustrated with it, but I do still use this color as an all-over lid color quite frequently. And I'm getting a little bit more of a dip in this one that I use as an inner corner highlight. But, I mean, basically everything else is still exactly the same as it was. So that is a little frustrating. So that is my progress on my Cameo palette, or lack of progress on my Cameo palette. I did have a lot of early days in which I did not want to spend the time to put on makeup. I would have had to have gotten up earlier, and I just didn't want to do that. So For quite a few days that I wore makeup, I just wore my cream shadow from my Project Pan, this little Benefit one, because I had like basically 5 minutes to get makeup on and go. So I did slack a little bit on that, but it is such a frustrating palette. I know that as I keep wearing it down, it'll eventually all go, like that color that I use all over my lid. It's obviously, I'm wearing down layers of the whole shadow instead of just a part, so you don't see dips. But it is very frustrating to work on this palette. I'm going to keep going, but I don't know that I'm going to like really stress about using it so much. I've started the 1 month 1 palette, which I like because I'm getting to play with some of the other palettes and do things that, you know, I really can't with that palette, either because they don't have the same colors or the pigmentation's not quite there in some of those shadows. But yeah, so I'm gonna continue to work on it. I would really love to finish this one just because I have been working on it for a year. It's so small. I feel like I should be finished with it already, but I'm not. So I would like to at least finish this someday. The Cameo one, we'll just see how far we can get by the end of the year. I wouldn't carry it over into next year. I'm not even sure that I'll do Pan That palette next year. I kind of like the thing that other people have been doing with hitting pan on multiple shadows, which I think I would want to try with my singles, because I have a drawer completely full of single shadows. So I'd love to maybe do that next year, try to hit pan on all my single shadows, or as many of them as I can. Obviously, I don't use eyeshadow much, or I use it. I'm not going to say I don't use it much, but I obviously don't use a lot when I use it because it takes me forever to hit pan on something unless I'm like stabbing it with a pencil brush every day. So honestly, my inner corner colors go more quickly than colors that I would put all over my lid because I'm just stabbing it with a little brush. So yeah, that is my rather uneventful Pan That palette. I'm just gonna go and see what happens. If I finish stuff, I finish stuff. If not, at least I've been using it. So yeah, my previous video is linked to the side, and my Project Pan playlist is also linked to the side. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.